What's up, guys? My name is Loralynn. I'm with Upwards Title Company, and today I'm going to be giving you a tutorial on how to pool turnover rate within a given area. It can be a city, zip code, boundary, radius, you name it. We can do it. So make sure, I've said this before in other tutorials, make sure that you are logging into socal.upwardtitletoolbox.com. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use my farming system. So today I'm going to go into statistics. The statistics tab up here, top left, click on that. And you can pull information 3 different ways here. Radius, so you're going to have a subject property, determine what radius you want to pull around that and get data that way. Boundary, you can draw a shape any way that you want, or you can go a little bit more broad if you're not sure what areas you want to focus on to farm by clicking area search. Now, the statistics, think of statistics equals turnover. Turnover is a statistic. Turnover rate is the number of sales divided by the total number of properties within that given area and during a certain time frame. So this pulls turnover within the last year. So just keep that in mind. This is going to reflect the last 12 months of real estate activity. So now that we've clicked area, make sure that your area that you want to focus on is correctly selected. California. I think this is location based. So if you're in LA, it might pop up LA County first. So if you're in Orange County but want to look in LA, just make sure that you're selecting it. But I'm going to say in Orange County. Now you can look up, you know, 2 different ways. You can either go by city or you could be more specific and go by zip code. I'm going to do city. I'm going to do Huntington Beach. You can also do multiple cities as well, but I'm just going to keep one. And this is always going to be the default. It's always going to be SFRs and condos right here. So if you only want to focus on single family residences, go ahead and X that out. If you want to add or just do condos, you know. So you only have the option of pulling turnover for those 2. Now, area type. This is going to be super important because this is going to determine how homes are being grouped together and how the turnover rate is being calculated. So I suggest doing either property tract, which property tract is just a certain cluster of homes, and sometimes it's just organized in a certain way. A property tract might have more homes than another. It's not really super consistent. Or carrier route. Carrier route is really good to focus on if you want to start using EDDM, which stands for Every Door Direct Mail. Every Door Direct Mail is a paid U.S. Postal Service where there is a specific carrier route that the post worker goes on and just like drops off bulk mail. So when you use EDDM, you cannot specifically pick properties for your mail to go to. It just is like almost like an email blast, but it's a postcard flyer blast. It goes to every single property in that carrier route. So if you were wanting to send out mailers or postcards to a carrier route with decent turnover, you would select this because now I'm going to go over here. You can be even more specific with what types of a selection of homes pops up. So I'm going to keep it simple and just do, okay, I want a higher turnover rate in Huntington Beach for carrier route. I'm going to put 5%. I want to make sure that at least 5% of homes in these carrier routes in the last 12 months are selling. So again, turnover rate is the number of sales divided by the total number of homes within a given area. And that's essentially just a percentage of how many homes are turning over in the past year. If you have any questions about that, go ahead and let me know, but I highly suggest it. You can find it on Google very easily. And you can also add like non-owner ratios. So if you want the max of non-owner occupied properties to be 25%, meaning I want to focus on an area where at least 75% of properties are occupied by the owner, but I'm just going to keep it simple. We're going to do a minimum of 5% turnover. I'm going to press search. 14 records. Awesome. So here you can see when I hover here, it highlights yellow on the left. And you can also click and change the view of the map, whatever you prefer. I'll keep it like that. And so this shows, where it's on the map geographically. The group, this is going to be your carrier route number. So when you go onto the US Postal Service website, you would type this in as your selected carrier route, whichever one you want to pick. Maybe it can be based on turnover, but these are the carrier routes that you're selecting, and it coincides with what is on the USPS. Now we're going to go over to turnover because was the whole point of this search, is to find areas where turnover is decent. Now, here we're at 16.67%. Oh my goodness, that is huge turnover. What the heck? Well, before you get all giddy, hop on over to the number of homes and look at how many homes are in that carrier route. Right here, there's only 6. So 1 out of 6 homes sold. I'm not saying don't focus on this area, but if you want to actually start farming a decent amount of homes, and I suggest starting from anywhere from 250 to 500 homes, maybe focus on some homes over here, okay? Or some carrier routes over here. 440, 455, 128, 413, 144. These are great. Doesn't have to be exactly 250 and or exactly 500, but just make sure that it's a sizable amount where you can realistically work on that amount of homes. It's important to make sure that you don't overwhelm yourself. Start small. You can always add more. But, you want to make sure that you're able to prospect well, do all the different touches that you want without getting too overwhelmed. So, again, you want it to be sizable, but I don't suggest starting anywhere in the thousands if you're just starting out. And you have to think about budget, all that stuff. And then here you can also look at average price. So, okay, we have average price of $695. Okay, not a bad turnover rate. And then you can see, what is this, cluster number 10? Maybe look over here. It kind of looks like there might be some condos, in this area with wherever that carrier route is. But for the sake of time, I'm going to keep it quick. I want to select this carrier route number 5. See where that is. Where is number 5? Oh, number 5 is all the way over here. Interesting. Actually, I'm going to select number 6 with an average price point of around $2 million. I like the amount. I like the turnover. Awesome. 14% non-owner occupied. Okay. So I'm going to click on the gear icon, press select. And now we're going to see a list of all the properties itself. Because right now we're just seeing a list of carrier route. But then when I press download/view records, so I press get count, told me 455 properties were found, which we knew because it said down there already. Then to see all the list of properties, I press download/view records. Nice. Okay. I said this in another tutorial, but I'll say it again here because this makes it's color coded. Green, if it's green, that means it's owner occupied. If it's blue, that means that it's non-owner occupied. And when I hover, it highlights yellow over here. Green, it's kind of like green light. If you're door knocking, you know that the owner is going to be opening the front door. Blue, that just means, yeah, the owner's not going to be living there. So you have kind of basic information, when it was last sold, what for, who the owner is, who it's occupied by, property type, either SFR or condo. square footage, all that good stuff right there. Then you can also add a note, which is really cool. I'll put test note. You can date it. And then it's saved, which is cool because once it's saved, it turns yellow and you know, like, okay, I wrote a note on this property. Now, if you like what you see and you want to save this farm, highly recommend saving. Don't forget to save. Press Save Farm. You can name it. And then the cool thing about me being an administrator for Title Toolbox, your Title Toolbox account, I can make a form for you. So if all of these steps, you're just way too busy or you're like, I can't remember, Loralynn, can you please help me with my farm? Just send me the specifications that you want, specific turnover, city or zip code, property type. I can make it because I can save it to your account. So all you have to do is access your saved farms. And I'll show you how to access your saved farms. So that's super, super cool. Okay, so we saved it. That's awesome. In order to export this data, you can press farm. It's going to export all this data into CSV format. Core fact, this is just like a mail out system / farming system where you can send out like mailers, postcards, marketing material. This is a compatible export file form for that. Facebook, this is only available if you have purchased phone numbers and emails. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. You can customize it where you can, select which columns you want to be exported because I think there's like 37 columns that gets exported. If you don't want all of that, customize it. You can export for labels. So Avery 5160, super easy. It puts it in that format for you and then you just print. You can do a walking farm, you can do a PDF of all of these properties, and then there's a different type of print marketing export that you can do. I kind of know that was a lot, but I just want to go over the export. Now, let's say you're like, okay, I want this to be my farm, but I want to get a little bit more granular and know what types of property owners are in this farm. So you'd go to Edit Search. Now, since you already saved the original farm, this isn't really going to edit that because you can save a new version of it, but it will keep the original, if that makes sense. I like to go to custom filters. It's all the way to the right. You can be even more specific in this search of the carrier route, but you can even see like, oh, I want to know how many homes have 4 bedrooms in this carrier route. I want to know how many homes have 3 bathrooms. You get the idea. You can do more available fields, which ones have garages. You can go by number of stories, basements, pools, assessments and taxes, other custom filters. This is my favorite tab. Highly suggest looking at how many homeowners are empty nesters. Empty nesters is determined by 30+ years of ownership and 3+ bedrooms. Because with that filter applied, it's kind of under the assumption that there was probably a family living there with children. They've been living there for a while. Those children have moved out, but you call those people who still live there empty nesters. So the logic with that is that the empty nesters might be ready to downsize, kind of go into more suitable living for themselves. If you go to property characteristics, apply empty nesters, click on number of stories and put 2. Again, there might be people who want now a single family story, and so they might be wanting to move. So if we want to see what's in this carrier route with those extra filters applied, and you can see all the filters applied down here. If you don't like any of them, just exit out and then press Get Count. 85 of those 455 are empty nesters that have 2 stories. And now we can be more specific here. Awesome. If I want to save this other one, I can call it Huntington Beach empty nesters and save that. Okay, now I'm going to go to edit search again right here. And I'm going to exit out of empty nester, exit out of 2 stories. I'm going to go back to custom filters and apply the next seller filter and see how many homeowners are considered next sellers. Okay, 16 properties. I want to see who are the 16 next sellers in this carrier route. I like that. I want to save it again. Bam. Cool. So we have all these saved. Now, let's say you're like, Loralynn, how do I find my saved farms? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So I'm going to show you. Pretending like we're starting over, you just logged in. You go to the farming tab, saved farms, and then there are our saved farms right there. So again, you press the select, the gear icon, select. Here's my next sellers. If I want to buy phone numbers and emails, I press Premier Data. Up here, you can see it says Premier, these special golden bands. Phones and emails. I can purchase phones, purchase emails, both of them. It's 5 cents per phone number or per record, and 7 cents per email for a property. If there are multiple phone numbers found for a property, you're not going to be charged 5 cents per phone number. It's just 5 cents for that property for the phone number, whether you get 1 phone number back or 5. Now, please note that these are not scrubbed against the do not call registry. It's your responsible to scrub these phone numbers yourself. So please keep that in mind. Protect yourself. Scrub them. Really important. So if you wanted that, all you'd have to do is then press get count. Pay now. You add in your card info and you're done. Then you're able to save. It takes around like 15 minutes to generate a list of phone numbers, so don't freak out if it doesn't populate right away. And you'll also get an email saying whether or not, like when it's done. So that is how we got here from statistics. This had to do all about turnover rate. I'm going to do another tutorial on how to just create a farm without turnover rate, leading our farming, but more so just like you already know an area that you want to focus on. Let's do that. So stay tuned for the next tutorial. Thanks, guys. Again, my name is Loralynn with Upward Title Company. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to add my information down into the description of the video. So call, text, email, follow me on Instagram. Let me know how I can help. I'm happy and pleased to be of service to you. Thanks. Bye.